I'm now in the area of the Pride of the Paddock with Paul Glass. Welcome, Paul, to Race Retro 2018.
Well, thanks, Graham. It's our first time here and I've been really impressed and amazed with the show, actually, so it won't be the last time for sure.
So can you tell me a brief history of, well, let's start with what you've done.
Yeah.
What you've raced before you got this car.
Yeah. Well, I've been 20 years a complete, let's say, lunatic about Lada Samaras, and I first started in the late 90s with a Guy Anderson Lada Challenge winning Samara Group A car, and over the years just naturally built up more and more cars. They were quite unloved by many people for many years, and I've got a passion for them, and also to make it affordable, to have all cars of the same type, many cars of the same type, the spares packages support each car. So now I've built up 5 rally cars, Group A cars, including the sister car to this car, which was actually the Jeff Workup Works car used in that gave Lada its international rally debut with the Samara on European rallying.
And you took possession of this car when?
Only in January, but I've been in contact with the previous owner for 7 years actually, so this has been a long-term project to build it up. So yeah, it's quite a long time in coming. We decided to do this event together. We thought it'd be a nice way to hand over the ownership of the car.
And of course, remember, Paul, I did a number of films in the early 90s of the production saloons, and this car, raced by Roger Turner, was very competitive.
Absolutely. It amazes me what a fantastic driver he actually was. Watching your film, actually, just to see the lines he took and his aggression, he was a supreme driver. But he was also a very skillful engineer and mechanic in his own right. So he developed this car together with Lada to be a racing car, and at the same time people like Andy Dawson got into contact with the cars. Andy Dawson had built the rally cars for Lada, and actually this car really influenced Andy Dawson to create a special road car for Lada. But Roger was an amazing driver. He was always outperforming, and because it was a Lada, many people didn't give it much of a chance for success. But actually in most events he was competitive in the top 4. Usually.
So you say you've had it since January?
Since January.
Right, so you've not probably done much to it, have you yet?
Nope.
So what are you intending to do? What kind of spec are you going to bring it up to?
The beauty of the car is it's completely original and period as it was in 1995, and I don't want to lose that. So we will keep the car completely in this current condition in terms of appearance. However, the engine hasn't been started in 7 years, and I know it's a very special engine. So after this event, we'll take the car back to Scotland in March, and we'll have the engine professionally recommissioned, so we don't want to damage what already exists. The idea is then to use the car in the future perhaps for demonstration events, but we won't use it in competition where the car could maybe come into contact with other cars. We'll leave that for the rally cars.
So what are you going to be doing rallying with it?
No, this will be kept just for what it was intended for, which is road circuit racing. But of course, when we're competing, we'll use the rally cars for the competitive sports. And the idea is mainly to use it for display events. It attracts a lot of interest, not just because it's a race car, but because for Lada, it was actually the first prototype Samara brought to the UK in 1986. And the model wasn't released in the UK until November '87. So it's quite a rare car in its own right. We call it the car with 2 lives, you know, in that way.
So you said you were mad on Ladas. What was it about the Lada car that made you so interested in it, in the marque?
If I'm honest, I couldn't really afford very much as my first rally car, so I managed to get the Guy Anderson car for hundreds of pounds. It was quite expensive to rebuild it, but as I've got into the process of that, I've just learnt more and more about the cars. For example, very few people know that Porsche actually designed the engine and the front of this car. When I found out more and more, I got more and more interested, and also the history, because the Lada community back in the 80s and 90s was really vibrant. So there's many enthusiasts that remember the cars and love them, but there's very few left in the country now.
Well, thanks very much for all the information on the car, all your knowledgeable information, and I hope you have a very good season ahead, and I hope the car's raced for many more years in the future.
For sure. Thanks a lot, Graham.
Thank you very much for the interview, Paul.